Hello and welcome to the West Partnership Learning videos. This is for Higher Health and Food Technology and is the sixth in the series of nutrition videos. As you watch the video, please make sure that you're taking notes to use for revision purposes and stop and rewind the video as and when you need to. Today we're learning about the interrelationship of nutrients. By the end of today's lesson, you should be able to explain how the antioxidant vitamins work together. You should be able to explain how calcium, phosphorus and vitamin D work together, and explain how folic acid, iron and vitamin C work together. To explain effectively, you'll be able to give a detailed fact about the interrelationship and the consequence of the interrelationship. So an interrelationship is the term for nutrients working together. It's important in an interrelationship question that you don't talk about each of the nutrients' functions individually. You have to show an understanding of how the nutrients work together as a team. We're going to start off with calcium, phosphorus and vitamin D. So the functions of calcium, phosphorus and vitamin D, how they work together. Calcium and phosphorus make calcium phosphate, which gives bones and teeth their hardness. So that's two of the nutrients in the interrelationship. That's how those work together. So calcium and phosphorus make calcium phosphate, which gives bones and teeth their hardness, the hard outer shell to the bones and teeth. Then where vitamin D comes into the interrelationship, the absorption of calcium is controlled by vitamin D. Without vitamin D, we cannot make the use of the calcium in our food. So these functions clearly are about how each nutrient works with the other nutrients in the interrelationship. They're not standalone functions. A standalone function of calcium, for example, like if you said that calcium is required for the clotting of blood, that wouldn't be accepted in an interrelationship answer. It's a function of calcium. It does clot blood, but it's not how that nutrient works in the interrelationship. Okay, moving on to iron, vitamin C and folic acid. So vitamin C is required to change iron into its more easily absorbed form, ferrous iron, which ensures the adequate supply of red blood cells. So that's how iron and vitamin C work together in the interrelationship. And then another function, if iron is lacking, then folic acid can be used to make red blood cells. So that's how the folic acid works in the interrelationship with the other nutrients. So again, we don't want to see standalone functions. So by saying, for example, that folic acid helps prevent neural tube defects, that is a function of folic acid, but it's not an appropriate function because it doesn't match the other two nutrients. It doesn't link in with the other two nutrients. So you have to make sure that in an interrelationship question, you are talking about either all three of the nutrients or how two of those nutrients work together. Moving on to the antioxidant vitamins. So the antioxidant vitamins work together to ward off free radicals, which can cause serious damage to cells and can contribute to heart disease and cancer. So our antioxidant vitamins are vitamin A, C and E, and that's how all three of these nutrients work together. So in this instance, I'm not talking about each of the individual vitamins. I'm talking about how all of these vitamins, all three of these vitamins, work together. So they ward off free radicals, which can cause damage to the cells, which can contribute to coronary heart disease and cancers. So again, we don't want to see standalone functions. We wouldn't want to see that vitamin A produces visual purple, which can prevent night blindness. That is a function of vitamin A, but again, it doesn't link in with the other two nutrients in the interrelationship. Okay, on to vitamin B and carbohydrate, or the vitamin B group and carbohydrate. So straightforward, vitamin B helps release the energy from carbohydrates. So we know that vitamin B has got other functions, but we want to know how it works with carbohydrate. So vitamin B, or the vitamin B group, helps to release the energy from carbohydrates. Okay, so you might get a question about the absorption of calcium, the factors that assist the absorption of calcium, or the factors that can hinder the absorption of calcium. So I'm going to go through those with you just now. So a good supply of vitamin D in the diet will assist the absorption of calcium. Lactose, a sugar found in milk, assists the absorption of calcium. And protein, because amino acids combine with calcium to aid its absorption. So these three things will assist the absorption of calcium, will help calcium to be absorbed so that it can then do its functions in the body. Factors that hinder the absorption of calcium. So people get a bit confused by the word hinder. So hinder just means that it can stop the absorption. It can be less easily absorbed because of these three things that I'm going to list just now. So a lack of vitamin D in the diet can hinder the absorption of calcium. Phytic acid found in whole grain cereals can hinder the absorption of calcium, and excess fibre binds with calcium in food and it's passed out the body, so that then hinders the absorption of it. Again, you might get a question about the factors that assist or hinder the absorption of iron as well. So a good supply of vitamin C in the diet, because vitamin C changes the iron from ferric iron that can't be absorbed to ferrous iron, so it is easily absorbed. So that will help to assist the absorption of iron. So vitamin C assists the absorption of iron. And the fact that I've given you there is very detailed, and that's what we want at a higher level. Factors that hinder the absorption of iron: a lack of vitamin C in the diet, because then it's less easily absorbed, hinders it. And excess fibre binds with iron in the food and it's passed out the body. So again, that will hinder the absorption of the iron. Okay, so hopefully you should now be able to explain how the three antioxidant vitamins work together, vitamin A, C and E. And you should be able to explain how calcium, phosphorus and vitamin D work together. And you should be able to explain how folic acid, iron and vitamin C work together. Now remember, if you're explaining something, you have to give a fact. So I've just given you all the facts. Then we need a consequence that goes with those facts as well. So for example, if we were talking about the folic acid, iron and vitamin C, we could say that folic acid can be used to make red blood cells if iron isn't present. That's my fact, and then the consequence would be that this will prevent anemia. Okay, so what I want you to do now is to just take a minute to recap what you've learned. So I want you just to brainstorm the facts that we've learned in today's lesson. Our next lesson will be on nutrition exam style questions. So I'm going to give you exam style questions based on all of the knowledge and understanding that we've covered so far in the nutrition videos. I'll give you perfect answers as well, so that you can use these as part of your notes for revision as well.